Okay, Kayla,
How did we get it a little louder for
let's
Ed?
call this to order at 10 o'clock. This is amazing.
You're good to
Great.
go.
I think
You want
so.
it louder? Oh,
Okay, Kayla is now gone pictureless, so she can clean house while while we have our meeting. Okay, so we'll call the order at 10 o'clock, and we'll ask for an approval of the agenda. Has everybody had a chance to look at the agenda?
Yep.
And if so, could we have an approval of the agenda, please?
I'll make
Mary
an
Ann
approval.
moves, and Barb second. All in favor? Agenda is approved.
Yep.
Okay. Disclosure. Okay, Kayla reworded this so I didn't have to say pecuniary anymore.
oh,
So disclosure of disqualifying interest and the nature thereof. Is there any conflicts of interest today?
No,
no, I don't think so.
There are none, so we'll move on. So approval of the minutes from our March 19th meeting, which was the big one that we had with Terry Vashon, Councilor or Mayor Measures, et cetera. And hopefully everybody had a chance to look over those minutes and have a second look at the PowerPoint presentation that Terry had outlined for us, because that's kind of what we have to discuss here today. So
74 pages.
yeah, well, but you know what? I went through it this
I
morning,
just-
and really there's only 3 that we really need to worry about as far as I
Yeah.
can see. So
Yeah.
so could we have approval of the minutes from March 19th?
I so move.
Ed, second.
I so move.
Yeah.
You,
I'll
Ed,
second.
seconder. Mary Ann, all in favor?
Yeah.
So the minutes are approved. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Business arising from those minutes. So I guess we're going to jump right. We're going to do this, Mary Ann, before we do your financial report. So we're just going to jump
That's
right
fine.
into renovations and accessibility. So council is looking for our lead here as to what we are wanting to do moving forward. I don't know if any of you printed off the sheets of what our options are here. I did this morning and looked them over again.
Yeah, I got them here too.
Yeah. So the options basically are option 1, we stay, the council still, we stay with council, and they will contribute 75% towards our renovations, which looks to be about 728,000, which includes the kitchen renos to meet the fire code. It would include having a stair lift instead of this Lula elevator, which probably makes more sense. The cost to keep an elevator going all year is going to kill us. That's option 1. Council will we stay with council, and they provide 75% of our needed monies for our renos. Option 2 from council is they sell the land and the building for $1 to what would be called well, that would be us as the volunteers. So basically, it sounds like council would sell, and Connie, feel free to jump in and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. Council would sell us the building and the land for $1 and provide us with some support. Still a lot of questions as to what that support would be and how long it would actually go for. It says here, continued support from continued support from Clearview Township, including snow removal, basic services to be negotiated, help with insurance costs, underline the word help with insurance costs, that doesn't mean covering it, taxes, community assistance as far as grants, provide proportionate funds from reserve, assist with legal expenses, 12 to 24 month implementation frame to incorporate and get the business established, update kitchen to fire code reserve. If sold, so if that would be the option that we would go with, if we as a incorporated body decided that we wanted to sell, there's a certain time frame. It says here in quotes, up to 10 years, council or township would have the first right of refusal to buy the building back. And it says at the end here, it might be cheaper for a new incorporated board to complete the renovations, because there could be different procurement process as far as the tenders, meaning we wouldn't have to go with what the council tells us we're going to go with as far as our contractors. So we could go to a Rob Nordegraph or Stacy at the corner here, or whoever, tender it ourselves. So there's other options as well. I mean, options as far as like status quo, meaning no renovations at all. I'm just going to read off the top here because I don't know if you guys have this in front of you. So the options are status quo, meaning no renovations or changes. Provide a lump sum amount of money to the board from council. Township manage and repurpose. Sell or transfer the building to an incorporated board, which is what I just talked about. Sell the building privately, meaning they just, I guess, put it on the market and sell it. Include all kitchen, fire, standard renos.
What is that?
Renovate.
Bill,
Yeah,
include all kitchen fire standard rentals.
I'm just reading the way Terry put this thing
Well, no,
together.
I just wondering if you knew what that
Yeah.
meant. Okay.
That's
I don't
what-
know.
Yeah.
Renovate with the full fads, renovate with the modified fads, or renovate with a hybrid concept. Demolish and build a new building. I think that's an Ottawa option. Permanent closure or other. So, and then we had on another sheet here where Terry had listed what it would potentially cost us here. Now, keep in mind, I mean, everybody knows it's been well documented that the price of a sheet of plywood has gone up 5 times in a year. It's gone from $30 a sheet to over 100 in less than a year. So materials are going to be astronomical for anything that we do, unfortunately. Oh, good. Thank you, Kayla. So there's, Kayla just put on the screen there now, guys, what I've been talking about so you can actually see for yourselves. So have a look there. So up at the top where it says all options, that's the last thing I just talked about, status quo, et cetera. I'm not going to read them all again. Those are the options. Okay, and then the council, now Connie, the council option where it says 75% contribution from Clearview Township, 25% from our board, is that a definite, or are we still like that? There's too many questions here for me. Like that meeting left me with no confidence whatsoever. Left me with more questions than answers.
Okay, no, that is 75% of whatever the cost is, the council will cover. 25% is up to us. Now, you're right about the cost of materials. It has gone up. So that 182,000 that we have to come up with might be actually closer to 200 by now. So we have to consider that. We do have the 100,000 set aside, but we still have to fundraise for the other 100,000. So
that is a definite commitment from Clearview Township of 75%.
That's right.
That's not a, that's a definite.
Council, so that is definitely what they will come up with, is 75%
Okay.
of the cost. Yes.
Okay, all right.
But
But it also says, hello, but it also says, does it include the 20K that's required for the kitchen
Yes.
fire code?
it says that right in there in the brackets.
Yeah, right beside there, Barb.
Yeah.
Yeah, right
it's
there.
in there.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
what was I going to say? Oh, crap. Sorry.
Just hate that.
Sorry.
Keep going. I'll think of it again.
Poof.
So that is with an implementation of the modified or hybrid fads. That's not the full fads, correct? Because that's what it says right at the top.
I don't think we should do the full, I don't even think we should consider it.
No, we don't.
Too onerous.
We want to go the cheaper route for now.
Yeah, let's do the hybrid for now and forget about the escape route out the back and all that stuff that they wanted us to do on the east side. We'll not even bother with that. I don't see that. I don't see that happening. As far as I can tell, if we go with the lift instead of the elevator, it's really just a matter of reconfiguring our stairs and rebuilding them probably. But that can all be done in the renovation or the addition that goes on the front.
Yeah.
So it won't even really affect the kitchen for taking the stairs out, and we might be able to actually add more storage or even more kitchen space. I don't know, but that will be redrawn, I think, once we decide on whether we go with an elevator or a lift.
Well, those stairs are looking kind of punky anyway, so ripping all those out and reconfiguring, that would be a good thing anyway, right?
Well, I would think so.
Yeah.
But
If
So-
you took
Go ahead.
those stairs out and put a lift in there, will that affect our electric? Our board is in there.
No, the board's
can
on
be
the wall,
moved.
isn't it?
Can be moved.
No, but the main entrance is in that room, isn't it?
No, it's on the wall, the middle of that wall downstairs. That's where the box is, so it's coming in through there.
Well, all that other electrical work in
Oh,
there,
yeah.
will it affect
Our
it at all?
stereo, the stereo system and that's all in there, but that has to be moved.
Okay,
You mean where we put the chairs, tables and chairs, correct?
yes,
Yeah. The only thing right down there right now is the new stereo system. Well,
okay,
besides,
sorry.
lights. But the other stuff is on
So-
the center of that wall.
Are we then deciding to not go with that new universal washroom at the front and just modifying the existing washrooms then? Is that the plan or?
Well, don't we need the one
No.
down? We still need one downstairs, right?
we still
But we
need.
don't need the one upstairs.
Okay,
And we
And the
will,
the
Yeah.
water fountain and the water, like, I mean, why do we need all that stuff? Really?
it's part
well, you
of the
can't drink the water out
game.
there anyway, so.
Huh?
Can't drink
It's
the water
part
out there
of the
anyway. It's
game.
full of sulfur,
The water at the hall is full of sulfur?
isn't it?
No, it goes
Isn't it
through all
smelling
that-
water?
No, it's great water.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah. Oh,
drink
geez.
up.
Yeah, no, it is. But I mean, they've got that big water system in there that's supposed to be keeping it all.
Okay.
But anyway, but yeah, we need the
So a
washroom
stair
down-
lift, instead of the elevator and a universal washroom downstairs, kitchen renovations. Okay, that'll dramatically change, so we're not really, so do we are we doing some sort of an add-on in the front or can we just do that with the way the building's existing right now?
No, we
No,
still, no,
don't
we still need
forget.
that.
You've got to add a universal washroom. You need space for that. And that's going to have to go in the little part on the front. If you look at the drawings, there is a built out on the front, and that's where all that's going to go. The entrance will have to be changed if the stairs are going to be reconfigured. I actually think they probably would be turned to the west where the elevator entrance would have been. Now we're looking at stairs going in there, and we'd be closing off the existing entrance now. So the little roof, we don't have to extend the little roof past the new entrance. We don't have to go down the side anymore if we close off that side entrance. So one entrance, one set of stairs, one universal washroom, and I think we're good to go.
And have to widen the stairs to go downstairs, correct, to accommodate that lift?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I like it. Just while Kayla's got this screen up on the computer for us, so hopefully they can see it. So if you look at option number 2, sell the land and building for $1 to us and we kind of run with it ourselves. I'll just say my piece on this and then you can discuss, or we can discuss this. I don't like that idea, and I'll tell you why. I joined this board just to be a volunteer of a hall board. I had no intentions of becoming an incorporated body, which is going to be responsible for this. I don't know that our annual revenues, I mean, we're counting on annual revenues when things get back to the new normal with our euchres and our buck and does and our wedding receptions and our turkey suppers. I think we would struggle if council eventually fades out their support and we're on our own to cover our own insurance and snow removal and grass cutting and taxes and everything. I think that we'd be in trouble eventually. I do not like option number 2 of us becoming an incorporated board and taking this on ourselves. But I'm one opinion, so let everybody else jump in and discuss that.
Well,
Mary Ann, why don't you?
my opinion on that is, if we go for option number 2, we and take it over, we're just the same boat as what we are right now. Because we're going to be out there having meals and entertain, and we got to come under all, well, people coming in like the fire department said, you got to change this, you got to do this and this and this. We won't be changing anything, only that we have the building. We got to pay for it.
Yeah, with more expenses.
Yeah.
Well, I have to agree. With this, we're into our 2nd year, and here's how I feel. Before the pandemic, with me, I was all gun ho. I was ready for this. We were ready for do that. I was, let's get out and let's get some money made and blah, 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 right? But now, after almost 2 years, we're in our 2nd year now, I kind of go, right? I've kind of faded away
Deflated?
from that.
Deflated, yeah.
I've deflated, yeah. I mean, if the church had still been in there, I would have still been in there trying to keep it clean and get Courtney in there, and you and I be taught, you know what I mean? And making sure the church is doing, but now the church is gone. I haven't been in there. Now, during the winter time, I was in there every 2 weeks or whatever it snowed, but I haven't been in there now for the last month, which is, I feel sad. Every time I go by, I'm going, I'm too tired to go in and say hello to you. So I go home, So that's the thing. I agree with you. Buying it for $1. If they had said this a year and a half ago, I would have said, let's go. We've got the cash coming in. We're doing okay. But now I feel deflated. Good word. That
I have to agree with.
How much longer are as volunteers are we going to do this? Now, I hate saying that because that's a negative thought. And I love the hall, and I go in there. I would love it to look like this. I think that's just beautiful, and that could only enhance rentals if we've had it looking better than just looking like a big barn, But
I agree. I agree with that to a point, but I also look at it like this is a small community hall. We're not looking to make Trump Towers here. It's done well as it is. I agree. I mean, the better you make it look, the more appealing it is to rent. However, how many rentals is it going to take to pay that off? I just, like I've said before, I don't want to go mortgage poor on this thing. I'm not overly confident that we're going to go out with cap in hand to our locals to cover this, especially with the way things have been the last year and a half. And there was a part of Terry's presentation, if you read it, where people have fundraising fatigue. Everybody's got their hands stuck out wanting your money. So we're too spread out. It's not like we're 1,000 homes in a subdivision, and here's our community hall. We're out in the middle of nowhere here, trying to fundraise to cover. Well, Connie said maybe with the up in materials, maybe 200,000. I'm with the way they've gone. I bet you we'd be in for closer to 300,000 for our portion, even with council coming in at 75%. So that's a big chunk of money for us to. That's a lot of euchres. That's a lot of bucks and does, and So, and I don't even. And the other thing we have to keep in mind as well. I'll say this last thing I'll say is. We talk about Trillium and we talk about government grants and whatnot. Our government's going to be in such a hole after this pandemic right now. I don't know what kind of support they're even going to consider giving things like community halls and fall fairs and, festivals and anything else. I mean, that'll, if I'm the premier, that's the last of my concerns, is worrying about, small town festivals and community halls when now I've got multiple trillions of dollars to pay back because this pandemic has just completely blown the province apart. So.
And it is nowhere with yet.
No, it's not. That's right. Connie, what are your thoughts? You've got a unique perspective with council.
Yes, I I guess I sort of do. First off, the township is not in trouble. We are in actually really good shape. The province has handed us almost 300,000 for 2 years now to cover whatever taxes people aren't paying, because we're not charging any kind of interest right now on overdue payments. So because we're not doing that, and that's about 300,000 a year on fines, funnily enough, we're covered for that. So really, and we're not providing many other services. Our arenas and things aren't open, although we have to keep them fairly maintained. It's not the same as having it open, having all the generators going the whole 9 yards to make ice and everything else. So don't worry about the township. The township's in good shape. They will come up with the 75,000. That's, or 75%. That's what they said. It is a resolution. It has been passed. So whatever happens, they're still good for 75%. The 25%, I mean, it will fluctuate too, as well as the 25% will fluctuate. But we have an unlimited time to pay it back. But having said that, I know that Sunnidale doesn't take an unlimited time. They make an actual effort to pay it back as soon as possible. So I think we're covered. I mean, I know we're covered as far as the township goes and everything else. If we get it done through the township, yes, it might be a bit more expensive, but at the same time, we're covered on all the AODA. We're covered by the township as far as any kind of liabilities or anything else that goes wrong with that build, because it's all under their bailiwick and their codes and their building and everything else. So we don't even have to worry about it. Now, having said all of that, option number 2, there was a bit of a suggestion made by the Dunedin Hall that they buy the hall from the township, do the renovations, and then sell the hall back.
I was going to ask you about that. I thought of that too.
Well,
Well,
could be.
well,
I'm thinking
the loophole, eh?
there's a few pitfalls with that.
Oh, okay.
Because of the cost of construction, because it's a bit of an unknown. And if we go in with the township, they cover us for the unknown, which we would have to cover ourselves if we owned the hall, if we did it. And yes, I understand that we have contractors in the township or in our ward that really want to do this and love our Sunnidale Hall. Doesn't mean it's going to come in much cheaper because their materials are the same materials.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I think we'd be farther ahead to stick with option 1 with the council, and we have money set aside already. Start our fundraising and actually make an effort out of it. Keep our regular events when we're allowed to be open. And I honestly think in 2022, we'll be back to a fairly normal situation. Maybe we'll still all be wearing masks, but I think we'll all be in person. So that's sort of where I'm at. I've thought long and hard on this. And I also have to say that it's really your decisions, because I might not be here in a year and a half. My term's up in 2022. So anyway, I just want you to have a heads up on that one. As much as I love this hall, and I might show up for fundraising and for volunteering once in a while, I just won't be as available as I am right now.
Well,
okay.
That's sad news.
Okay. No, it's not sad. You're okay.
Okay, we still have Michael. We still have Michael for turkey. It's okay.
Yeah.
As long as we provide Michael with the bottle of wine, he'll come anywhere.
All right. Yeah. No, he's a cheap date. We'll look after him. That's actually something that we really will have to. I mean, we've talked about this, and I don't know what the answer is to this, and it's not a subject for this meeting. But we really do need to get some board members. I mean, everybody's willing to jump in and volunteer, which is great, fantastic. I'd like to see a few more board members on, and take the onus off of those of us that are here. I don't want to stay on as chair forever, like Mike did. I'd like, a normal board, like our fair board, for example. There's terms. You have 3-year terms, 2-year terms, 1-year terms. Your president is in for 2 years and then moves on. And that's really the way this thing should be. You shouldn't have a hall chair or a chair of an organization that sits on there for, 5, 10, 15 years just because nobody wants to step up and do it. Everybody should take their turn. It's not that onerous. And we do need to really get some people in here. And I don't know how we've tried to assure people that we've tried to bring on. I think people's worry is, it's going to take so much time. There's weekly meetings and we have to do all this work, and it's really not like that. So we need to find a way to recruit volunteers or recruit board members. I'd like to see 2 or 3 new board members in, and people that are confident to climb the ladder. In fact, we should probably have a co-chair as part of this organization that can step in to chair a meeting if the chair is away or unavailable. And then the natural progression is you go from being a director to co-chair to chair, and then kind of you're the past chair, but you're still on the board, et cetera. But again, that's something we can talk about at another time. But here we are. There's 4 of us, which is quorum. Courtney is on our board, but Courtney is with child right now, so I don't know that we'll see her again for a while. But we need to tap into resources. We need some youth too. We need to tap into some youth. I mean, Courtney's crew there. I mean, hopefully we can maybe rope some of them into coming. Actually, I shouldn't say that. That makes it sound negative when you're trying to rope somebody and it's like you're trying to hoodwink them into something they don't know what they're getting into. We need to get some help here. So, because I'm not going to stay on this chair forever either. I can tell you that. So anyway. Connie, I agree with what you just said about option number 2. The only thing on that sheet right there that you can see that makes any sense to us with going option number 2 is that we could procure our own tenders or our own contractors. But like Connie said, they're all going to be in the same boat. I would just hope, Connie, that council, if possible, can somehow give preference to local contractors. I don't know legally or how that works, as opposed to some big group coming in from Toronto or wherever. You'd like to think that a small community is going to support their own. So
I'm sure that the council will ask for board's township input, and I'm also very sure that they will listen to the board. Doug McKechnie just emailed me and said that he wasn't sure that we actually made a resolution on the 75%. It was just a point of discussion. Now, I'm not sure, but as far as I've heard, when I've talked to all the halls or listened to the halls, they were pretty adamant about the 75. So I think if we came forward with a resolution that we wanted to support the first option, then they would have to stick to the 75. If it changes, then obviously our resolution would have to change too. Either we decide to not accept it and move on and just leave it the way it is, or we do go ahead. But as far as the contractors, I would hope that we would have some input into it. Now, whether they hire one contractor to do all the halls, I don't know. It could be they hire one overseer to do all the halls and he hires individual contractors, which would make more sense to me, in a sense that there isn't all that many contractors to go around, and to do 7 halls all at once is a big job.
Well,
and that means that some of them are going to be left behind, and quite frankly, we're ready to go. So I don't see that we should even worry about that. It would be nice to see a local contractor do it, but if it's out of the hands and we put it in the hands of the township, we'll have a say.
Well, I think we need a strong say in it, because anyone coming from contractors from the city, they won't care. Our local people will, the Stacy's and the Harry Nordograph and so on and so forth. They're going to take an interest in the community. But somebody from Toronto, besides bringing up the COVID with them, so that will have to wait anyway. If you go from people around here, we're in a fairly, I'm going to say safe community compared to, and upon saying that, let me just tell a little story I heard yesterday. friends of ours who just live down on Klondike Park Road have a small, they have that big, subdivision back in there. Anyway, one of them had a contractor come in to measure their countertops in their kitchen. They came from Brampton, Bramalea, wherever. Both of them had COVID. Now, the family that was in that house, now this is just down the road on the 12th, is an 80-year-old man. Now, either they never said, are you got masks? Are you washed up? Maybe they didn't say the right questions. But anyway, both of those young men had COVID, and now it's in that community that's outside the beach. So, and that was 2 days ago. So you kind of go, holy crap. And that came from the city. So, I mean, they're getting to a state of mind. They're so tied up down there all the time that after a while they're kind of going, and that's what. So if we stay with local people, like our plumber, help me.
Oh, Phil.
Phil, and stuff like that, to put in the toilet and stuff like that, and Stacy or not Lynn, bless his soul, he's gone. Harry Nordograph, those type of people, we know them and we know what they've been doing. They've been kind of sticking around and staying safe, my thought. So
Not only that, if you went into the city and they come up for his contractor, all the material and everything like that comes from the city too.
yeah, so it'd probably be more expensive.
Could be.
So
You got to transport it.
yeah.
Well,
No, I agree, but it sounds to me like we can highly recommend it, but there's really not much we can do. The one thing I noticed during a meeting that Mayor Measures had joined us on a while ago, I picked up on this, and I'm assuming it's the same with this tender, Connie. I'm hoping it's not, but it sounds like it's the way that tenders are done with Township. When Clearview Township was looking for, it was either new work trucks or a new truck for the fire chief or something like that, they actually put out what they are going to spend. And then the companies come in with their bids. So it's not, to me, that's really ass backwards. Like, I mean, if I'm buying something, show me yours before I show you mine. The council put it out. We're going to spend X amount of dollars on a truck. What have you got for us? As opposed to, what's the best deal you can give us on a truck and let us decide who we're going to buy it from. And I thought that was really.
That is the drawback to being a public entity. We must publish everything that we do, and everything's in our budget. And if anybody wants to know what we're going to be spending on anything, all they have to do is look at our budget and figure out what they're spending that year, how much can we sort of suck them out, out of them for that amount of the budget. So I get what you're saying, Bill, but unfortunately that is the way public service works. And we don't have much choice as far as that goes. So
I think what Bill's saying though, is it right or wrong? And the way we think,
we have no choice. That's the law.
Well, that doesn't make it
wrong.
That doesn't make that it's right though.
It's easy to do that when you're using taxpayer dollars. I don't like it, but
would you go and buy a vehicle like that? Probably not.
It is taxpayers' dollars. They have to
that's
know
what I said.
So they have to know how we're spending it. They have to know how much we've got to spend, and they have to know whether we're going over budget, because that's what really drives people crazy when they go over budget. You know that.
But
it has to all be there up front and personal.
What Bill is saying though, I'm sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No,
I'll tell you what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if it's fine if council knows they have $75,000 to spend on a nice truck for the fire chief, but why tell the whole world that that's how much money we have to spend? Because now if I'm Hannah's or I'm Paul Sadlin, oh yeah, that $65,000 truck I've got in the lot, yeah, it's $75,000 because I can put a GPS in that and I can put a nice Bluetooth radio in it to crank it up there to 75,000. So, to me, that's where it's bass backwards on this thing. I wouldn't tell a soul how much money I have to spend on something. Tell me how much it's going to cost me, and then I'll tell you whether or not you've been the bid or not. That's the way it's done. That's probably why this province is in such financial peril, because government can't figure it out. But anyway, Marianne, anything else on that? Or
No. That's as far as getting back to our hall. I would really like to push local contractors because I think we can trust them. So
I
mean,
agree. So
if they're
are
looking
we?
at, if they're going to be kind of ass backward about it again and bring in people from the city, well, I'll hang in there. We'll see what kind of work they do. But if it become trashy, I know what I wanted to say too. What happened to the idea of maybe doing one at a time? And let's do one and then let's go to the next one. Right? I mean,
Well,
if we're ready.
There's
but-
money to be saved if you do them all at once.
Oh,
That's
all
the
right.
thing. It's called like bulk buying, bulk this, bulk that. If you lump them all together and you get one contractor and he'll say, oh, well, I can give you a deal on all of these then if you're going to do it. But individually, I'm going to sock you for it.
Oh,
You know
I
what I
see.
mean?
Oh, all right.
So you have to be
Yeah.
careful about that.
Yeah.
And you have to let the township do their job. That's how they do it. They know how to negotiate. They know how to reach out to the right contractors, and we will make it quite clear. We want to see a local contractor at least put a bid in, at least.
Mhm.
And if we can encourage both those contractors to put a bid in, it's quite possible they might get it. But it still has to be a
Maybe
competitive.
they'll hire both.
I'm
Maybe
sorry.
they can realize both of them.
There's no reason why they both can't do something. And
Yeah.
we can also dictate how much we want the province or how much we want the township to do. So let's say we want to finish off our own bathrooms, not the universal bathroom. That's going to be included in the reno cost. But we want to finish up our own bathrooms. We got our own plumbers in there to do, like Phil.
Yeah.
Somebody like that.
Yeah,
But that I don't see the township objecting to that kind of sort of, okay, you do this, we'll do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the majority of the build and the engineering and the drawings and all of that should be left to township because that's what they do. And that's what they do best.
It would be wise if the locals, Marianne, what do you think of this? And I mean, I don't know how you go about this, but if the locals like Phil, if they were to get together as a group, Phil and Stacy and the Nordographs and whomever, get together and they sort of become one. So rather than, trying to say, well, okay, so you're going to use Joe Blow from Brampton to do the drywall and Bob from Toronto to do the roof, and you want Stacy from the concession over to do the plumbing.
Yeah.
Right. If Stacy and Rob, just a group of local contractors got together and said, you know what, let's become one strong group here for a bid, and because that way, then if there are 7 halls to do or 6 halls to do, they can kind of wrap their heads around it and do the research. And that would be one way for a local group to get business out of this thing.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I don't know how you do that. I don't know if that's collusion or what the legal
No.
ramifications are for that, but
I think it's encouragement.
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
word. Yeah.
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 So, and I'm sure, and there again, I mean, I don't even know, these people, and the other thing to keep in mind as well is all these contractors up here are so busy right now with
Yeah.
building, and I mean, try and get a plumber, try and get an electrician, try and get anybody to do anything. They may not be as game as we think they'd be to actually do this.
That's right.
Somebody who builds houses and does small electrical work and small plumbing, it might either be too much for them, or they might say, you know what, I can fit you in a year from now. They may not even be wanting to do the work. We don't know that. So,
Lynn, Rob Nordegraph, when I was talking to him now months ago, he was saying that Harry wants to do it. He really likes to do it, but he's got something like 3 or 4 houses that they're working on. So
Exactly.
he said the only thing he says, Harry wants me to oversee it, and then I guess use some of his crew, but yet it would be under Rob.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, well, okay, well, that sounds good, but we'll have to sit down and see exactly
for
what you think.
optics,
And-
for the
and
optics
now-
of it would look wonderful if
Yeah.
it was all locals. It'd be great because they are the ones that come to our turkey suppers and our euchres and our breakfasts. And it'd be great to have their local signs out in front, roofing done by so-and-so or building supplies by, with Sega, Beach Builders, that'd be great. It'd be fantastic. And then, all we
Because
can do is suggest it. And so,
Because that's what we did the first time. It
Yeah.
was all local people, and we had their,
My-
signs out there, but that was before.
My suggestion would be that you put it in the resolution, that your preference would be a local contractor and local suppliers, if possible. I
Yeah.
mean, and if you put it in the resolution, council will do everything they can and staff will do everything they can to comply with what you want. But if it's not possible, they'll let you know, but at least we could still go ahead. I don't know. It's up to you. I know you think it's a lot of money, but we're really not looking at very much compared to the other halls. We're in
No.
really good shape.
We're looking at 182 here, and
For doing that, because you're the guys that have kept us here in this good shape, and I can't tell you how much this community appreciates it.
Connie,
So the other thing I'm going to ask about, do you want to go out and survey the community?
for donations,
For what do they want to do? Do they want to see the hall improved or do they care?
oh, okay. But how can we, if we want to leave it as is, we can't do that anyway, because the government is pushing us to do something else, correct?
No, what happens if we leave it as is? If we get caught and we get fined, we'll be fined like 100,000 a day.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
That's what
when
I'm
the
saying.
hall
We can't,
gets boarded up, basically.
yeah, well, we can't do that either, so.
Well, there you go.
No, but I'm just saying, I don't want it as is, because we know that these improvements will make it so much better for rentals, for everything, just the overall look of it.
We know that. But do
Yeah.
we know whether the community wants to
No.
support us on this?
Yeah. Well, how do we do that?
Ed had something, guys. Ed, go ahead, please.
Connie, I'd like to ask, on behalf of the council, when do you really want an answer of what we're going to step in and do?
Terry wants to hear from you before the end of May.
Oh. He didn't, that's in 22 or 21?
23.
Now, this month, by the end of this month, that was
Okay,
discussed
yes,
at the meeting. Yeah, no,
I'm just kidding.
the other thing as well, Connie, I don't know if you're aware of this, Marianne, you've seen the emails. Gord Kemp from Duntroon Hall has been trying to arrange a meeting for the hall chairs with Mayor Measures, just for some clarification. So I get the impression that Gord and some of the other halls might have been as confused as the rest of us and was looking for a little more information before making their decision, I guess. He sent an email this week. They're trying to arrange a date for that meeting. So, I don't know if we really benefit from waiting on that meeting. It sounds like we're kind of in concert here as to what we want to do, unless I'm misreading our meeting here today. Like, are we ready to make a resolution here? Like, how does everybody feel? Like, are we leaning towards option number one, the 75% from township, and we just move forward? Or
As treasurer, I would say I would lean to the first one, of course. Why would we look at $546,000 and say, no, we don't want it? Now, as far as our bank account goes, I want to just slide this into our meeting, if you don't mind. As of right now, we have 106.
do you want to do your treasurer's report now?
Well,
Then,
that's what I'm
Marion, we'll come
saying.
back.
So, because that all relates to what we've been reading here with the 546,000.
Okay, so we're gonna just hang on a sec. So we're gonna jump ahead to
If you don't
the
mind.
treasurer's report or financial report. We'll wait for Barb to come
I'd like
back.
to see the thing.
I'll talk to you later.
Hang on, just wait for Barb to come back.
Well, we'll be out in the field, Stephen.
Oh, you're
We're
going out?
not gonna be in the house.
All right.
We're gonna be out in the field trying to fence.
Oh, all right. Is there anything that you want to add to our meeting then, or
Who are you talking to, Marianne?
I'm talking to Barb? She's just
Barb's
saying-
on the phone with somebody. She wasn't talking to us. She was talking to somebody on the phone.
Oh, I thought she was.
No,
talking-
I'm
No,
here. I'm
Oh,
here.
sorry.
No, she was talking to somebody on the phone.
All right,
Okay,
I
so
didn't know
Barb
she
is
was-
back. So let's carry on. Mary Ann, go ahead and do your financial report.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to say, as we were looking here at this 182,000, which is, let's say 200,000, we have now $106,777. I don't know if everybody in the bank. And we also, with our capital fund savings, we have another 24,000, a little over 24,000. So you add those up, now we'll be broke if we use it all, okay? So that's $130,000 that we have cash, but we will be broke. So with the 200, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
We're
We'd be
not-
broke, but we're hopefully, we wouldn't be broke. We would leave some in there to cover expenses until we're not poor by no means.
No.
And that's what I'm saying. Even if we took half of that and put 56,000 toward it, between the 56,000 and the 24,000, that's almost giving us 80 some thousand, right?
Yeah.
More or less. All right. That's with no income coming in. So if we can get over this COVID stupid thing and we can get it opened again. Now, we did lose the 2 weddings that we had because they couldn't wait any longer because they didn't know if we were going to be open in August and September. So, oh well, that goes with it. But right now, with us being locked down, it seems like such a waste of time for the hall sitting there when we could be doing the renovations and have it when it's all, then if it gets done.
Almost
And so
like a
it's
grand reopening. Like a
then
grand
all of a
reopening.
sudden we have a grand reopening. Now,
Ribbon cutting. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm just looking at this and going, well, that's feasible, but we'd have to go to the community. Maybe like Barb and I were looking at this, donation tree. And let's go pushing that. Put a picture like this on a big board on the front of the hall. They may call, but at least it will get people going, ooh, that looks nice. And we need to get people thinking. I think people want the hall there. They want it to look nice. They'll help us pay for it, but we need to get going.
Yeah, no, I
right?
agree. And that donation tree, I mean, realistically, if we did some sort of a, not like we could drive around actually and stuff mailboxes or whatever. We don't need to mail them out, but just go for a drive on a weekend and start stuffing mailboxes. It's realistic that donation tree could make 20 or 25,000.
would increase, especially when Barb and Glenn has talked to John. What's his name? Barb.
Oh, I have what he suggested that he could make. And as I said, when I talked to him, he made this maple leaf. He said that he would make all the leaves and do the tree at cost of material. That's all. He didn't want it to be cost of doing it, but he would just the cost of the wood, which is hardly anything because a lot of the wood he has there himself, which was a donation basically to our hall board. So we don't have to pay 18,000 for that picture of that tree that you had from the United States. That was 18,000, I think, just to buy the tree.
That we weren't going with that tree. That was just an idea.
No, that
it
was
looked like, yeah.
no, that was, and I
But-
took it over to him, and he said no, he would do it for free because he's part of the community.
Yeah.
And he had he made up a leaf here. You can see it on my screen. That he
Okay.
would do.
But
So,
now,
That's nice. John, who? Barb,
it's
sorry,
nice
what's
and-
John?
Ward,
who?
I believe
Sorry.
it is
Okay.
Ward.
Jim Ward.
And
I was
it would
trying to-
be something that we could put up in the hall. Like it wouldn't be too big. We could put it on a wall somewhere and. is
Yes,
that the-
now Mary Ann had suggested putting it on the stage, at the back wall of the stage. The only thing I find with that, if somebody wanted to see their name up there and they were in a wheelchair, they wouldn't be able to get up on the stage.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it would be nice if there was some place in the hall that, like you see
I
at the
s- yeah.
hospital.
I see that
that
as
you
you're
could,
walking in.
There
It's
might
the kind of
actually
thing you
That's
see in,
right.
see in an entrance. As soon as you walk in, it's there.
Well,
Sorry,
no,
Connie?
On the staircase, as you're walking in the staircase, and
Yeah.
people like to see their name, trust
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And you can put whatever price you want to put on the size of the leaf or whatever. But Jim was really anxious to help out, so that we make money. And as you said, I think we should be going ahead
We sold,
with the
when we did the
fundraiser.
big fundraiser, when we did the big fundraiser for the fair years ago, the memorial wall that's in the walk between that's named after my dad, we sold those bricks for $100 a piece.
Yeah.
And we sold, I think that made us 50,000. We had, actually what we did was we had, and I've probably said this before, we did what was called the Big Beef Barn Buster. So we did this roast beef supper that had entertainment and a meal. And then you sold these bricks. In this case, you would sell the leaves. So hopefully, if things get back to normal, as we say, we could do it as some sort of an event. You know, like we're not just going around saying, "Here's what we want to do. Please give us $100." It's kind of a double whammy. You're getting people out there at $25 a plate to have dinner with us, and while you're here, you know, here's the feel good moment. Now cut us a check for $100 to have your family's name on the wall forever. This is perpetual. It will be there forever. And, you know, you're supporting your local hall. So
25 years, not forever.
What's that?
I said it's usually 25 years for those kinds of things. And then
Yes, it is
take
25.
it over or do something else or leave it. It's entirely up to them. But at least 25 years it'll be up.
Well, I don't see our fair board ever tearing down our memorial wall, but anyway, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's brick and that's because it's brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Why
Well,
would you
these
think brick
would
and
be
mortar?
permanent too. Like these would be permanent. Like now
Well-
the name, like how would you etch the names on these things? Would you burn them in, or would you stencil them on, or how would you, has he talked about that?
Well,
Yeah, he actually carved out my name on there. I don't know if you
Okay.
can see it. He just put Barb and Glenn
Yep.
Harvey on it, and he just stuck it on there. And I said, well, I said to Glenn afterwards, I didn't want him to do that because I figured if he made a couple of them up, that if we were going door to door, that we'd have a sample of something to show people what it would kind of look like. And
Yeah.
he put our name on it. And that's basically what he did. Now, what we can do is, he says, is you blacken inside, like you blacken the whole thing,
Yeah.
right? And then you sand it off, and then the black stays in the writing so that it sticks out.
It's like pottery.
That's how they, yeah, like exactly.
The way we do our images.
So that's
exactly how we do our images.
Yeah.
you don't think that leaf is pretty big? That's going to take up a lot of room. A lot of room for
Put that
one
up,
leaf.
Barb, put that leaf up against your hand and let's see what it looks like compared to your hand.
Eyes wise.
Put it right-
Yeah, see, that's
that's-
pretty big.
That's a good
Yeah.
size.
But
Well, I mean, remember,
But
we
I've got a
want,
small
it has to
hand.
be big enough to fit. It would have to be big enough to fit something like the Nordograph family. Yeah, keep that in mind, Mary. It's got to be big enough to.
oh, yeah.
No,
yeah.
I'm not joking. The Leishman family. I mean, those are big names.
So,
Well,
I
It's
mean,
not as
Exactly.
short as Bowie.
But-
It's not as short as Bowie.
I have a small hand, so my hand
There
is
you go.
not a big hand.
Yeah, no, I like that.
So
Well,
anyway,
what do you
that
think
was
of that
just a
idea?
sample.
Yeah.
That was
Doesn't
just
mean-
a
Ed, do you
sample
like it?
of,
Ed, what do you
Ed,
think?
do you like it?
I think it's very good, yes. And I'd like to see it in between the door, the upstairs door and the cloakroom there. I think if people come in there and the first thing they do is stand there and they can turn around and look at who has donated and who hasn't. Go over the list.
Well, myself, I think it's a little big, and I'm not a fan of the maple leaf, even though I love it. But the maple leaf hasn't got a nice flow to it. If we're gonna do a tree, let's have it so it's a sweeping thing. I mean, these people that do these things, they look like, but a lot of them use the aspen or the poplar or whatever because they can get a wind-swept flow to it, like the weaves, and we've got that wall space in between where you're thinking. That's why I was thinking the stage, because that stage is a big wall. We can really expand that out and but if you get the leaf too big, I think it's just going to be too big.
Can this not wait until after the halls are open and then we can take a look at it?
Well, we need, yeah.
Because nobody's going to see it now.
No.
It's closed.
But
I'm really thinking that we need to get down to a resolution rather than fundraising right now. Let's decide that we're actually going to do this. And if we're actually going to do it, then we should actually get down to actual, like, getting serious with fundraising. But right now, all we need to do is give an answer to the township or give it to the council so that they can get it through and we can get a shovel in the ground.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
We'll brainstorm on
later.
fundraising at another time. I agree.
That's just my thought, and I just
That's fine.
looking at it.
Yeah.
But anyway, just let's
No,
finish
that's
off.
fine. What we'll do, we'll leave it at this, Marianne. Before we make any hard and fast decision on what leaf or tree we're going with, we'll get somebody to actually draw it up with dimensions so we can know how many we can sell, et cetera. So I agree with fine. Let's get back on track here. So are we ready to make a resolution now then? Is the idea that we're going to go with option one and take council up on their offer of 75% of the
I will
contribution?
make that move.
Yeah.
I will make that move. We go for number one.
Okay, so Kayla, can you come back on here for a sec if you're there?
Okay.
Hi. How do we need to officially word this? Because we want to word it in a way that we are encouraging council to use local contractors as well. So how wordy does this resolution
I have a proposed resolution if you'd like to hear it.
Sure, please,
of course.
go ahead.
Be it resolved that the Sunnidale Hall Board hereby approve moving forward with a modified or hybrid FADS option and local contractors where possible, moving forward with the small halls renovation discussion with the township.
I so move.
Now,
Hang on.
is that the cheaper part of the fab?
Yeah.
Yes, it's the modified or hybrid. It's the actual wording used in that document. Sorry, I'm pointing off screen because it's there.
So do we need to make part of that resolution that we do this with the understanding council supports us to the tune of 75%, or is that understood because we are going with that option?
I feel like it's understood, but I also feel like it's still up for conversation. So what's going to happen is Terry's going to take this resolution. If it's passed and moves forward, he'll present it to council, but he's going to ask the board, and he'll probably specifically reach out to you, Bill,
okay,
to compile a more in-depth and like what you guys want. So you want the local, yes, your wish list.
Right.
So he's going to take that and present that to council, and he's going to reach out to you. I'm going to send your resolution to him today, but on Monday, he'll probably reach out to you and say, hey, Bill, I got your resolution. What's your wish list? Because I want to add it to my report to council. So council sees what it is that you want.
Yeah, I kind of figured that because that's left open to interpretation. Like it's all of a sudden, if we said, okay, we want to do a renovation worth $2 million, and we're expecting council to come up with 75% of that. That's not the way this thing's going to work. So yeah, I can understand where you need to see our wish list and exactly what we plan on doing for, so. Yeah. Okay,
and this resolution is basically just to continue this ball in the conversation moving forward. So it's not necessarily set in stone. This is it. This is what you have to do. Because you guys could come back and be like, hey, we had another idea. What about this? It's continuing the conversation. That's all it is. And it gives Terry kind of an idea of where he can go and, to further explore it and present to council.
Right. And basically it answers the question, do we want council's support or do we want to buy the thing for $1 and go on our own? That's what this does. Yeah,
you've got it.
I like that resolution. So Ed, would you like to move that resolution as Kayla just read it?
I so move.
Seconder, please. Don't all put your hand up at once. Marianne, thank you. Seconded. Is there any more discussion on this? If not, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor?
Yes.
Barb, I don't see your hand. Yes? Okay, I see your fingertips. Good enough. Okay, so there's our resolution. We are going to move forward with option number 1, and I will watch for Terry's email to come asking for a wish list. And so with that, rather than setting up another meeting to discuss our wish list, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask everybody to have a look at the list of renovations and expenses that we have in front of us. And again, that's part of Terry's presentation. If you just scroll down, you'll see, actually, I think Kayla had it up. I don't think she did. Kayla, if you can put that screen up for a sec where it says 2019 estimates, full fads versus modified fads, and it's got that list of expenses along the right-hand side. If you can pop that up on the screen. Yeah, Connie's got it in her hand. And I just want the others to see it so they can locate it and look over, and then we can kind of check off what we feel we do and don't want. So then when
Well,
Terry
it'll
comes back,
also
I can go
give
back.
you what you want for your wish list, Bill. If you have it in
Well,
front of
that's
you, Gary gets a hold of you.
right, exactly. So Kayla, I think that was Paige, here it comes.
Yeah, it was one right after what we had.
Yeah, it's gonna pop up here in a sec. Nope, not that one. Down, down, down. I think it's like page 22, 21 or 22 or something like that.
It says Sunnidale
Way
Hall.
down near, second from the bottom or third from the bottom of that
Oh,
presentation.
Oh, you're getting close.
Getting closer, yeah.
Oh,
Couple more.
right. Next one. There.
There it is.
There
There,
we go.
right there. Okay, so if you look at that screen along the right-hand side, and again, Barb, Ed, you've got that in, it's actually part of the minutes that Kayla sent us for this meeting. It's called Special Meeting Minutes. And there's an that's the attachment. If you open that up and scroll right down almost to the bottom, you'll see this screen. So there on the side, we see item A, proposed addition, Lula, which I believe is the elevator, universal washrooms, accessibility entrance, front canopy, drinking fountains, et cetera, $450,000. And then down there, additional scope of work. So the rear addition, I think that's the one that we talked about we could deal without, Connie. That would be the east side of the building.
Yep.
So that whole 342,000, I don't know that we need that. Southwest stairs, that would be the main stairway on the way in. Upper kitchen renovation allowance. I think is that to widen? Is that just to widen that
must
door?
be the door, because we don't have
Yeah.
a kitchen up there. It's just it's the bar.
Right, it's just a bar, right? So I think that's
Yeah.
just to widen that.
Anything to do with the stairs, you should leave out, Bill, because that's going to be redone anyway. If that top part, that's so 450 will be less because we've taken out the elevator and we've taken out the part of the bill that needs to accommodate the elevator. Now we've put in stairs, so that is going to be a lot less money.
Right. So I'm just going to make a few notes as we're talking here so I know what to go back to Terry with. So what I did was I stroked out Lula and put in lift only. And that's about all I can really say to that.
Yep.
Right.
So next thing, so B, the rear addition, do we just stroke that right off then? The 342, take that right out?
Yep.
Okay, so that's out. Southwest stairs, you said take that out because it's going to be part of the whole front reno.
I think that's part of the 450, yes.
Okay. Upper kitchen renovation allowance of 20,000. Again, we think that's to widen that doorway. Leave that in. Yeah.
Yes, I would have.
I don't think it's going to be 20,000 for that, no. But
no, but we'll leave it in. Lower kitchen renovation allowance of 10,000. It's probably going to be more than that, but leave that in. Yeah.
That doesn't include the 20,000 for the upgrades of the fire. But
Right.
that's also included in the 450. So not 450, but it's included in what the township's doing.
Okay.
Yep.
Elevator platforms, accessible ramp. Elevated platforms, accessible ramp.
on the outside, when it going up into the steps.
But
and
do
stuff.
we need that? Was that when we talked about doing like a zigzag ramp along the north wall, or is that actual do we need elevated platforms outside if this, that would be part of the reno, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be part of the?
Yeah, I think that's part of the reno. So I wouldn't worry about that part. That's pretty small.
There's that door widening there at 10,000. So I don't know what that other 10,000 for upper kitchen or 20,000 for upper kitchen. I don't know what they want there. That except for widening that door, that room is. So
That
maybe
could be your fire suppression
Yeah.
system.
on where up on number D.
One of those, I know that 20,000 somewhere is because of the fire suppression. I see if I can find it in, there it is.
I think it's actually included in the cost there, Kayla.
Oh,
Is
I
it?
see.
Yeah, I believe
I
it's.
just thought if you were doing line by line, they might have just thrown it in as one of the kitchen
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, no, well, no, I think it was something separate.
Yeah, I'm just gonna check these off and leave them all in. Powered door operators, almost 20,000. I guess we need that. That'll be
Is that
part
for
of
the
the,
big? Is that for the big door? The front
that'd be
door?
for the entrance doors, yeah.
Well,
If we have
They-
one door, then we don't, it's just one power door.
all right, okay. Because when they went there, we had it turned off, so it wouldn't be swinging out, and they said it wasn't working. Well, it's because the switch wasn't on.
Yeah, but the switch is too high for anybody in a wheelchair, so that has to come down. So all of that has to be replaced.
Oh, all right, okay.
But that door will be, if we do just the stairs and it's at the east side, then the thing at the north will be lopped off, or at the south. Sorry, the
Right,
south
it'll be a
Oh,
whole
I
new
see.
door
Yeah,
system.
yeah,
will
okay.
be closed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tactile warning strip indicators. I don't even remember what that is.
That's okay. So that's like for a wheelchair warning, for if there's a stair there, if there's a door, if there's a ledge,
Yeah.
anything, any of those
Okay.
kind of indicators.
Okay, so that's got to stay in.
Yeah.
Signage allowance.
Well-
Signage allowance.
Yeah, you have to have signs, like wayfinding signs, like this is the washroom door, this is the fire exit, and they all have to be wheelchair accessible, like the symbols instead of the words and all of that.
Assisted
Seems like a lot of
listening
money.
devices. Yeah, it does.
It does. And
Assisted
all of these
listening
are overly
devices.
inflated, don't forget.
What is an assisted listening device?
That's if you've got a hearing aid and you've got one of these devices in your hall, that it will hone in on your hearing aid so you hear the meeting a lot clearer.
That's if the hearing aids are Bluetooth. And Raymond's is
Yeah,
Bluetooth, but he
most
can never
hearing
get the damn
aids
thing.
now
working.
have that Wi-Fi capability or the Bluetooth
Yeah.
capability.
Yeah.
Even older ones have the T symbol, and the T symbol will actually, you can convert it to pick up these machines, and they basically cancel out the background noise so that you can focus in on the speaker.
Yes. So
Okay.
you'll hear that Kayla is the expert on this. She's
Okay,
the one that
okay.
got us involved in this in the first place, and that's great. Good girl.
Her mother must work in radio. Exterior path to exits. Exterior path to exits, $4,200.
Yeah, but really just make sure that the entrance and exits to any of the doors are accessible. Although
Okay.
that's going to happen at the east door, because we're not going to do anything with it right now.
Yeah.
Accessible parking, pavement markings and signage.
Yes.
$12,600 to paint a parking space for our
Yeah,
wheelchair spots.
Well, that's pavement. That's
Cost.
paving it too, though, isn't it?
well,
That's not paving the whole parking lot.
It says pavement.
12,000.
Pavement.
Not the whole
Mark-
parking lot. You're not going to pave
Well, you
that parking lot for
Well,
12,000.
we do for 12. Yeah.
yeah, but if you just have a couple of spots that are nice and level and they get level right up to the door, or you can access the door easily and they're well marked as accessible parking spots, and I think you have to have two, I think at a minimum, then that's what it's going to cost. Yes, they're not cheap. It's really sucks, but yeah.
Oh, we've got one there. We just need to repaint, put another one on there, right?
Yep.
2 spots and put some white lines on? Oh, we
I
can do
think
that.
they're
Yellow.
Yellow.
Or yellow lines. I don't-
Yellow lines.
Yeah,
Okay.
And they
And
got
construction, go ahead, Ed.
and they gotta be for wheelchair and for other people
Yeah.
and the
Anybody
handicapped
with
people.
Mobility issues.
Differently abled.
Yes, yes.
Handicapped has almost become politically incorrect anymore. So
Yes.
differently abled, not disabled, differently abled. Construction contingency of 10%. So that's just a buffer, I assume, Connie. That's just a
Yes.
so 10%. So it won't be 47,000 because it's going to be a lot less. So obviously, whatever it is probably be closer to 30,000. But at any rate, we'll leave that in. So, okay, so if Terry comes back to me, then I kind of know what to tell him, what our wish list is going to be. So is everybody okay with me? Just
Number A? In that
Well,
number
number
A,
A-
you're taking out
Taking out the
the
Lula.
drinking fountain and the bottle station?
No, I think we're leaving that in. We're taking out the Lula, which is the elevator, and we're going with the lift option instead, which will be dramatically.
Is it a mandatory that we have the drinking?
Included 2
Oh,
washrooms,
never mind.
and we only need 1.
yeah.
So that's going to be a lot less that as well. That's going to be a savings there.
Sorry, Connie, I missed that. You said 1 universal washroom as opposed to 2?
Yes.
So our initial plan was to have 2 universal washrooms, was it?
Yes, we were going to have 1 upstairs and 1 downstairs, but really all we need is 1 downstairs, and we can reconfigure the ones upstairs.
Okay, that will make a big difference in the cost. So a lift only and 1 universal washroom. Sorry, Barb, not to gloss over what you said there. I'll come back to that. So Barb had asked there, and I said the same thing earlier. Do we really want a drinking fountain and a bottle filling station? We're
I
not the
don't think we need
YMCA. What's that?
Well, I really don't think, I don't get that. I don't know why we need it. We put all that money in, but why do you want to, well, you'll find out that that's going to be a good little money that we could put somewhere else.
I'm
I
sorry.
agree. I don't think we need it unless it's law.
You think we don't need it, but it's part of the AODA, and it's part of what all the halls have to do.
That's what I was going to ask if it is mandatory as part of that. Is it, Connie?
It's all about, yes, it's all about that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
well,
Yeah.
Hi. What's up?
They must have awful water down in some places. I mean, they put a lot of money into that purification and the salt and anyway,
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay, so the way it reads then is I'll go back to Terry with, we're going with option A, taking out the Lula elevator and putting in a lift only, 1 universal washroom instead of 2. And everything else there stays in. The rear addition of 342,000 is out. The southwest stairs, I've stroked that out because it is part of the renovation of A.
Yep.
And then basically left in everything else from there down, from D all the way down to the bottom. So I don't know how much the elevator, I mean, maybe the elevator itself was 75 or 100,000. I don't know. And the 2 universal washrooms, so maybe they were 25 or 30,000 each. I don't remember. But I would assume that option A with the 2 things we're taking out of there is probably down closer to 350 than the 450. And the good thing about doing away with the elevator is the yearly cost to keep that going. I mean, the inspection, to bring an inspector and look at an elevator, once or twice a year enough, that'll suck up half of our revenue right there every year. So
Another thing on that is that on the elevator, you have to have somebody to man it. You can't.
But you also have to have somebody to manage the lift. And the lift will get inspected, but I don't think it's as onerous as the elevator inspections are. So out of our hall board, somebody would have to be trained to use the lift. Either that, or we hire somebody that can come at a moment's notice when we call them and say, we have an event. We need somebody to come and run the lift for a wheelchair lady, maybe at the beginning, maybe at the end. But if we can find someone close. Now, Bill, you mentioned something about members for the board. We have a whole bunch of new people that have moved in to our ward. In fact, on this line alone, John McNiven Jr. has just moved in to Colleen and John's house. And I'm also thinking that Sean Davidson would be a good member of our board. Those two guys are pretty deep as far as their connections and their business savvy. And I think they'd be two people that we should engage for sure right away.
Great.
Wasn't young John on with us for a while, or was he just
But
volunteering?
now that he lives here, maybe he'll feel a little
Yeah.
more inclined to get involved again. I'm hoping.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be fantastic. Yeah, Sean
Oh,
too, especially with his former.
Sean, that would be.
Yeah.
That'd be
Well,
that
the
would
other
help
thing
us.
is that because we have so many new people in, I'm planning to drop off a letter of, welcome to the 9th concession. We're glad you're here. This is Ward 6. We have a beautiful Sunnidale Hall at the corner. Anytime you want a family gathering or anything, any event, come on up and rent it from us. And oh, by the way, we need help and members for our fundraising, whatever.
Yeah.
I am inclined to do that. I haven't been out yet to do anything. I mean,
Well, you can't. You gotta
Nobody-
watch. We gotta watch ourselves.
Nobody wants to see me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I have-
Sherry Baker and they're still interested in coming on board too. But
yeah,
I've kind of backed off because it was closed and it was hard to.
Well, that's good. No, those are two great suggestions, Connie, and that brings some youth to the board as well. I think Sean and John are probably in my age bracket, probably in that late 40s, maybe early 50s, bracket. And that would be great. We've got young families, young wives, young kids. So
yeah.
that would be great to get them on board because, I mean, we're gonna need a group to take this thing over here eventually as well. It's not just for, now. I mean, we need to get some young bodies in there that are going to be willing to take over this thing as we move forward. So,
Yes, I'm one
okay,
of the
so-
ones. I'm one of the ones that's ready to leave.
well,
You
Well,
hang around for a while, big guy, with you and that mustache. You just hang around there.
we can make it mandatory that before you're
Well-
allowed to retire from the board, you have to have a successor that's willing to come on in your place. Otherwise, you can't leave.
Oh,
Anyway, so I think we've made a resolution that Kayla can now. Sorry, Kayla, do you take that to the board? How does this work now? We've made a resolution. Who takes this to council on our behalf?
I've already sent it to Terry, so he should be in contact with you probably Monday morning.
What are we yapping here for?
Oh, man, you're official.
Okay, so you know what? Let's. Kayla has very generously given her Saturday morning. Let's wrap this up so she can get
Yeah.
on with her day. Marianne, do we need to do a little more on your financial report? We kind of talked
No.
about it there, but you
No,
want to
no,
just
well,
sort of.
it's all there for you. You can see what our expenses was and it's pretty well the same all the time. Hydro, telephone.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have to worry about heating now, so it's only hydro and telephone, and we're still getting some revenue coming in, interest from the banks. Now they took a big. I think. I don't know if I should say this out loud. I think the bank did an error with that interest that was coming in because it went from $100 and some odd a month down to, what is it, 23, whatever the heck it is. I can't think. And I'm thinking, because I kept saying $100 and some odd interest. Oh, geez, that's great a month. But as soon as COVID came in, I don't know if they started looking at it because the interest rates went way down too. So that could be investments and
Yeah.
stuff. But anyway, they didn't come back and say we need our money back. I would say that's wishful thinking.
So it went from
So-
100 down to 70, basically. Marianne.
It was 100 and some, yeah, for
69.19.
Okay.
but
So-
but all of a sudden it went down to $12 for one and
5 mornings.
I don't have the breakup here for the other one, so.
Well, our money hasn't changed. Why would the interest rate change?
Well, I think it's all, I don't know if they made a mistake or if it was because of investments and stuff, and the money wasn't, but I'm not, you know, we'll see what happens after this is all over with and see if it comes up.
So basically, if we look at the statement, it says at the bottom here, we have liabilities and equities of 131,194. I keep staring at that HST owing.
I know.
I
I
know.
know.
So whenever I look at our bank balance, I'm taking that HST off, because if they eventually do come and say we need that or want it,
Yeah.
you know, so we're actually
It's
120,000.
showing, right now we have 20, we have owing for HST 120,000, no,
11.
11.
11, yeah.
Maybe that 300,000 you got from the province, Connie, where they gave you that for people not paying their taxes, or, you know, maybe we could pay
Yeah,
off our
yeah.
HST with that.
Yeah, just lump
Okay.
the halls in there, okay? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Any questions about the financial report, or are we good?
Well,
Okay.
like I say,
Any-
we're in the negative as far
Okay.
as each month, but we
Well-
still
I
got money in
have
the
a
bank.
couple announcements though, Bill.
Okay, so new business then, Connie, you can do your announcements with new business then?
Is that what you got now?
Yep, we're on to new business. Go ahead.
I just want to tell you, we have a new CAO. His name's John Ferguson, and he's a great guy. You'll really like him. He's from Nova Scotia. He's just down to earth. You just want to get to know him, and you want to, you know, invite him for dinner. He's just one of those kind of guys. He's really nice. And he's right on the ball. He knows his stuff. He's had more than 10 years experience as a CAO, but he's also been in the business for over 30 years. So it's really good. And we have a new clerk, Sasha Helpkey. Sasha was our records keeper when she worked for Clearview Township, and then she moved as clerk to Springwater, and now she's back, and she is our clerk, and she's taking the place of Pam Fettis, who has moved on to Agilitas, down south of us here.
Mhm.
So I wish Pam all the luck and all the best, but I'm going to miss her terribly. But Sasha is a real pistol. She's great, smart as a whip. We couldn't have a better person there, and I'm sure Kayla is really happy to be working with her. So anyway, that's just the new things that have happened in the township. It's kind of hard to do stuff like this during a pandemic, to get new people like this. But I think we've got a great human resources girl in Tammy, and she just knows the kinds of people we need, and we've got a fabulous staff. So, you know, I know you're kind of apprehensive about leaving this in township's hands, but I don't think I would be. This is what they do. They know how to do it well. Let them do their job. Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, we're not, I'm certainly not apprehensive with the township looking after it. What it keeps coming back to is we really have our fingers crossed that they'll find a way to keep this local, or as local as possible. I think that's the
How's
overwhelming
Amanda doing?
push.
Amanda's
Amanda
doing
Murray?
great now. She is working alone, and so it's quite a big job for her to keep, you know, up and keep positive and try and get the word out about the restaurants and discover Clearview. But truly, for a one-person show, she's doing a terrific job.
Yeah, on that note, I mean, in case you don't know, the Small House Festival has been canceled again this year.
Yeah.
That sounds like that was pretty well unanimous from what I could tell. As
Yeah,
far as I remember, actually, Connie, I remember filing our meeting minutes with Sasha when she was here the first time, back when I was
that's
secretary.
Right. That's
So
right.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
no, she's good. So yeah, we'll miss Pam. Pam was great as well. So okay. So not to keep everybody. Is there anything else before we go? Barb has left the building, but I'm sure she can hear us.
I think the phone rang.
Okay. If not, I'm not going to call a next meeting at this point. We'll just wait until we have something to talk about. So we'll call for an adjournment.
I have to go to town today, so I'll stop in and just take a walk about and see what's, you know, if we see anything, and toilet leaking or something like that.
Okay. Okay.
All
Can we have a motion to adjourn, please? Connie, seconder.
Yes.
Ed, we are